watching the Ben Breakfast Show, and it's an exclusive interview with a very, very big personality in Nigeria. We have the top businessman, a former cabinet minister, also the former Minister of Education in Nigeria. We have Honorable Olorogu Kenneth Gbagi. Did I pronounce it well, sir?
I think so.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
so,
you.
Sir, we know the state of Nigeria at the present, and we knew how Nigeria was like maybe 5 years ago. It's no doubt that Nigeria, the state of Nigeria between the last 5 years and now, has not been good news. Do you agree with that, sir?
Not completely.
Why did you say so?
You see, we as a people must not be in a hurry to make judgments and take situations as they involve. If you say the country with regards to 5 years ago and today is worse, to you, you might say so. To me, if you specifically go into issues of the areas you are talking about, then I'll be able to throw light, have the privilege of being on both sides of the coin.
Yes. Okay, maybe we should start with the power industry, light, electricity. We know that this has been a problem for a while, and we have a good, I know Fashola is obviously he's governed Lagos State very well, and we hope he's going to do a good job. But what has been the main problem of power in Nigeria?
You see, talking about power in Nigeria, I have issues. When we were in cabinet, we decided to privatize generation.
Yes, sir.
And to that extent, the individuals are putting their selves together, their business plan together with regards to being able to develop the power sector.
Yes, sir.
Did government do anything well? I would say the kind of money the government of Nigeria had put into power with nothing to show for it is a shame.
Yes.
Would Fashola do a good job? You see, put together, there are people in the country we must give respect to. And I would tell you that Fashola is one that you should respect. Yes. I mean, we are colleagues as a lawyer, but there are people who do not expect to do certain things. And the reason why the country went into the drags we went into was that you do not assess people by their performance. There are people who had name, who had paid their dues, who had qualification, who have profession behind them.
Yes.
So to that extent, I believe given time, Fashola would do well.
Would do well.
Given time. This whole issue of Nigerians wanting to,
they want fast track.
Fast track issues without looking at what you are going to achieve is a problem. However, we must be careful as a country because I believe that this blob of irresponsibilities with regards. I was in this house some years ago, just in the inception of this government when I said that unless we are careful as a people,
yes, sir.
Social media will tell you when to sleep with your wife. Social media, and it's all major lies. I remember what happened to me as a minister when I created education ministry. I went through a lot, but I was dogged. I know what I wanted. I know where I was headed.
Can you share a bit of what you went through while you were?
Oh my God, all sorts. I mean, as I was creating these universities or girls' child school and what have you, I went through a lot of social media critique. Today, having doggedly created those 12 universities, all those girls' child school, we still have space for over 100 universities in Nigeria, not yet created. In fact, I had a discussion with the current minister, who I'm going to see as I go back now. I want to share my views with him. The problem is that Nigerians, it's a country where theft had been a way of life.
Yes.
Theft. And a lot of people in their millions depend on this situation for their own upkeeping. So whatever good idea you have, they want to cut it down. You think that they are playing or they are crying on behalf of Nigerians, but they are crying for their individual self. So to that extent, I think if we give time, let us hold Fashola responsible for the period he's been made a minister. What has he done? What achievement has he recorded? Instead of just churning ministers, like I'm against this whole issue of, retiring young soldiers, retiring judges who can still serve and all of those. They are part of this country. They are Nigerians. If you find one that is good, allow that one to run.
Because what they think is that if they don't stop it, then the younger generation won't have a space.
The question is that you do not. I'm against this whole issue of creating a space for anybody. If you are brilliant in your class, we all come as children without any pedigree. If you are brilliant from the class, you will come as the best. Go to Singapore. Minister Mentor, who is a lawyer, if you remember when he took over Singapore, Singapore had no water, no sand, no stone, no land, nothing. He turned Singapore today to one of the biggest countries in the world. So the question is that reserving a place for anybody, if I makes it a very irresponsible, bad education for upbringing, like you say, give 20% to women. I mean, you are insulting the women. The women, they are as brilliant, some of them even more brilliant than men. So allow them to emerge, allow them to come up, to show who they are.
So do you support the not too young to run bill that was just passed recently by the House? Not too young to run. So like encouraging young, obviously young, maybe from ages. They didn't really put an age gap, but like a 30-year-old should come out and start running the government.
We have a situation in France where a very young boy like the age of my son is now a president, which is fantastic. Nobody says that. Now, if that bill get passed, it's not yet passed. If that bill get passed, let the young ones come. I mean, we are all parents. We are building an empire today for children who. You don't say because you have 10 children, for instance, and then you say, you want to leave it for child A or child B to. No. Allow the children involved, allow them to come out, allow them to do what they need to do to get to the top. You don't destroy them by saying, I reserve this for you. No, I wouldn't do that.
Okay. So now, let's talk about the trade, the investment, the business aspect of Nigeria. We know that, and people say Nigeria is a gold mine, obviously, but we found out that investors over the years, at least I know of some big companies like Nestle, Unilever, some of them moved at a point to Ghana because of the issue of power we're talking about. And now we're obviously telling other investors to come to Nigeria to invest. Looking at the issue of security, obviously, which would have been the best thing, the best or the first reason for investors to run away. And when I say security, you know where I'm going to. In terms of terrorism and Boko Haram, that was a big, major reason for investors to run. Then the issue of power too was another major reason. But do you believe, or what are your views as seeing Nigeria as a gold mine? Do you still think, yes, there's still room for investment despite all these hiccups?
Take me, for instance. I'm an industrialist. I have industries in Nigeria.
Yes, sir.
Has the government put in place situations for investment to thrive? I would say no.
Thank you, sir.
Has the government done... Look, I bought a small factory in America about 14, 15 years ago. The local government came for support. The local county came for support. Now, if you take my industry, for instance, my factory, I bought electricity, I bought transformer, I bought generator, I bought armored cables. So it's not there.
Yeah.
Can we get there? The answer is yes. Is the economy a good one for you to invest? Obviously, economy of about 170 million people. Just production alone is enough for any good investor. However, we must ourselves look inward. I still do not believe that I can stay anywhere in the world beyond a month. I've never, apart from when I went to school. Unless we believe in ourselves,
Yes.
unless we believe in our own, we will never go anywhere.
How
Somebody
about-
built London.
Yes.
Somebody took pain. Somebody did America, did Germany. We must expose irresponsible conduct.
Yeah.
We must fight it. We must make sure. I mean, I'm a minister. I was a minister.
Yes.
Either SSS or EFCC or what have you. I don't give a toss about them.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I was guided by the principles my father, embedded in me as a person.
Yeah.
And I have no reason to think that they exist. Because I have no business.
With them.
Every check I've received in my life from inception, which one being the first one being 4,000 to today, I have copies of them. So what I'm saying to you is, unless you have skeleton in your box,
Yeah.
you don't have the problem.
Yeah.
Children that are molded well, it's like you telling me today that my son get involved in crime,
Yeah.
in politics. Oh my God, I would reject him as my child because I never taught him that.
Yes.
My father never taught me. That's why we're what we are. And there are good people in this government. There are good people who can make things happen. Nigeria should encourage the good ones, expose the bad ones, and make sure we move. This whole country, this whole situation of tearing the country down, it's an irresponsible behavior, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think to an extent, people don't really tear it down, but I think to an extent, a lot of people are frustrated about the whole situation. We shouldn't forget that some Nigerians don't have access to basic amenities like water, basic amenities like light, basic amenities like transportation. Like you can have 100 naira or 200 naira and you can be sure that you're going to eat. So sometimes people don't want to complain, but situation, poverty, sometimes can make people get frustrated and just start tearing it down because Nigeria has not been good to some people, even though it has been good to some people. So maybe that's why.
Put it this way, madam. You see your fingers, all fingers are not equal.
Yeah.
And they can never. God himself, who made fingers the way they are, realizes that we can never be equal. That's what I refer to as speed, ability, and understanding where you want to go. I was a conductor.
Wow.
My father and my mother was not privileged to send me to school. I shot the film, The Birth of Hong Kong, to pay my university fees.
Wow.
So the question is that I was determined, tearfully to get to where I'm going.
Yes.
I'm not there yet. I'm headed. The question is, what is your drive?
Yeah.
It is impossible for you to genuinely have put in effort towards greatness and you don't achieve anything. Laziness will not bring food on your table. I mean, Nigeria is a country where if you go and miss whatever, I don't want to use the wrong language, and put it like akara and sell it, and they will buy.
Yes.
The population is hungry for food. So let us please go and look at issues the way they present.
So,
some of us are lazy. You are here today. I don't know wherever you came from to this place, but you made effort. You struggled. You made... so you are here today. Somebody say, oh, some people are envying you. Some of your primary school classmates are envying you because you are a presenter.
Yes.
So please let us first look at the issue, compare. I used to hear of this issue of, say, the common man. That's not common. The common man, to a large extent, are the problem. Yeah. If these politicians come today and give them pittance, they all go. Look, I contested governorship election. Maybe I didn't have money to throw away because I've never seen free money. My money is sufficient money. They know how we do the job.
Yes.
They know how we do it.
So they won't put you in.
They don't want that.
Yes.
So the question is that we must go back to the root basis of where our problem is.
True, sir. So now, let's look at this present administration. How are you going to rate it so far? Honest opinion.
Put it this way. Give and take. For instance, since I became an adult, largely, in the last 10 years, this is the first time that I go to petrol stations and buy petrol.
How did you used to buy petrol?
My God, you and I know we lost a lot of homes, we lost a lot of houses as a result of petrol born, fire born, and people keeping petrol jerry cans and all
the
of those
house,
hoodlum, hooliganism, petrol. All. So the question is that let us look at where it is right and look at where it is bad, and then talk about how to improve on that. A minister came, for instance, this minister, I want to salute the skills of this president, praying that God, resuscitate him health-wise very quickly.
Amen.
Picked Ibekachuku from Mobile Exxon, where he was a vice chairman. The man was in Texaco before. He became Mobile vice chair, rose from company secretary and became vice chairman. In Mobile Exxon. Mobile Exxon, as defined, is an American
company.
If this man were to be one of those Nigerians, colorless, he would not, best practice, he would not have risen from company secretary to become vice chairman of the company, Mobile Exxon. So the president, whatever wisdom, where he got it from, to have picked that fellow. Talking about that industry, what did he do? Number one, the man has brought the issue of petrol queues, petrol stations without petrols, without diesel. It is now, nobody thinks about it anymore. Nobody.
No more fuel scarcity.
Nobody feels scarcity anymore. That issue is dead.
Yeah.
The man, I understood, has changed the production costs of crude oil from $27 to $18.
Wow.
Nobody is discussing it.
True.
The man I hear or I see has changed the crude term contract to DSDP, saving the country about $1 billion. Is involving Nigerians alongside with the old player, either to as against where Nigerians are just involved by collecting doles. This man has gone back to carry out a reform in NNPC. He produces now a monthly audit of NNPC.
Yes.
This man has changed the face and transparent nature of NNPC as opposed to what we know it to be.
Yeah.
What do you do to such a man?
You praise him.
Encourage him.
Yeah.
See where he has acted well. Discuss it. But do not forget the main kernel of the problem, for instance, for people like Ibe, who I do not I envy, there are people who benefit from those jerrycan business.
Definitely, yes.
In Nigeria.
Yes.
So all of them put together are ganging up. They become blob owners. They become social media owners. Because these social media owners are invisible people. Just like they say about the president. You see photograph about the president. The kind of thing I see about social media about my president gives me sleepless night. That if we are not with our foot and leg on the ground, we'll be carried away from that country. If you've seen blobs and photographs about President Buhari,
I have.
how do you wish a human being to tell you the extent we had degenerated, dead, all because of power? So if you see blobs, you see social media posts and all of those saying Ibe Kachuku is this, and it's because the man has stepped
on their toes.
On the toes of jobless persons in Nigeria who either wants to import petrol, wants to import and carry. You can see all the money they are refunding.
Yes.
Either the people that were there before. For instance, the man has told the world that by 2019, he will have nothing to do with petrol importation to Nigeria.
Wow.
That he's making effort today to repair the refineries so they can produce the purpose for which they were installed. Our fathers yesterday saw reasons.
Yeah.
Now, if this man has all of this, for instance, he does not want petrol imported again in Nigeria, you can imagine what he's going to face.
Definitely.
People who have money, people who have stolen diesel before, people who believe in importation of petrol and petrol product will pay all their last money to blackmail the man.
Yes.
They will pay all their last money. But thank God that we have a president who himself was a petroleum minister before.
Yes.
So he understands the market. He understands the trade.
Yeah.
I hear some crap that the man is collecting money. He wants to sell marginal field. Marginal field has not been approved.
Yes.
Marginal field is not done. These are all just wish hunting people. The man went into a JV agreement with the oil companies to inject money, and because they believe in him, because they believe that, I mean, when you say ministers, using the joke of our former president, if this man makes money, everybody will know where the money coming from. True. They will shout. They will say, if they have, these distractors I call them, if they have anything truly against Ibe Kashuku as a minister, not because of what he's doing in favor of the country and Nigeria, I challenge them, let them produce it. Let them produce the document to the EFCC. Let them produce the document to the SSS. If I have a copy, I'll be the one to stand and fight Ibe in the street. I'll be the one to say, you have disgraced yourself. So just sending blobs. I see a lot of blobs. Oh, the man is getting 3-point-something billion naira. What is 3-point-something billion? The man has saved the country billions of naira. Let any oil company, Mobil, who has to report back home, Shell, who has to report back home, to the Mobil Exxon, Snap, all those companies, let them come out to say that eBay has collected 10 kobo from them. Then I will lead a jihad. I will lead a situation against it. But just distracting the man because of appointment, because the man is blocking you from destroying the country, because we are no longer in queues. To me, I believe it's an insult.
Do you think the same thing happening in the oil ministry, do you think it's similar to what's happening in the power industry? Because obviously not blogs now, social media posts. We know that Mikano, Marapo, all those big generating companies, they bring the supply generators, and they know that once we start having steady power supply, obviously it's going to affect their market. Can you say that that's the same thing happening in the power industry, that there are some people that are working against us not having power because of their own selfish interest?
You see, as I've said to you earlier on, when you see social media, when you see blobs like that, go back to look at the reasons behind it. Of course, Fashola is going to face a lot of... If you ask me, if you want to solve the issue of electricity in Nigeria today, ban the importation of generators.
Exactly.
Which Muritala did before.
Yes.
Once you ban the importation of generator, in 6 months, Nigeria will be out of its.
So why can't they ban it?
Again, in not wanting to look like a dictatorship government, not wanting to create an atmosphere as though it's a militarized situation, you have allowed things to play out. But I think, it's just like I believe that the late former Minister for Power, Bola Ige, Bola Ige would have actualized it.
Yes.
I believe Fashola
might do it.
Somebody like Ibe, Fashola. So, there are great people who have come. The legal profession would tear Ibe to pieces. They would tear Fashola to pieces. Not to say because we are the best, but the question is that these are people we should... I see some blog about Fashola. For God's sake, how do you, who in this government, the whole world, OPEC is writing a report, for instance, that Ibe Kachuku is the best minister the country ever had with regards to petroleum.
Wow.
He's getting awards everywhere.
Yes.
These people, they know. They know. Look, yes. If you travel today, just your small card, your Visa card, people know how money comes and so calling names and trying to bring him to the same level of, with greater respect, some of his colleagues, it's not acceptable. It's not right. Let us say what, I will criticize my brother, my blood brother.
Yeah.
Everybody know me, Kenneth.
Yeah.
My brother was a chairman of a local government. Everybody know what I did to him and chased him away. If somebody is not right, say somebody is not right.
Yeah.
It's people who fears because of what they have done. That's why the country is the way the country is.
Yes.
So to me, Fashola is doing a good job. Let us see how he wants to go with it.
Yes.
Ibe has transformed.
It's done fantastic.
Transform the oil industry
in a very short
period. In a very short period.
Yes.
In the same way an American oil company runs.
Yeah.
I want to believe his exposure to in Texaco and Mobile had assisted him, being a very sound lawyer at a young age. So I think such individuals, it's like the vice president.
Yes.
With greatest respect.
Yeah.
The vice president, with greatest respect.
Yes.
I'll be shocked to hear that the vice president is in a cocoon.
Yes.
As with regards to business as usual.
True.
It is not possible.
Yeah.
Given his upbringing, giving where he has come from, in-law to Awolowo, and all, it's not possible for you to say Oshibajo is a thief. No. Oshibajo swindled 30 million or 40 million. Because this money will not make, I don't have $30 million anyway. This money will not make sense to you. Yeah. What are you doing to contribute to industry?
True.
Ibe had been in private business from what I read about him. He has been in Texaco. He rose to where he is today. So for God's sake, we challenge those people.
Yes.
Who want a change so we can go back to queues.
Yeah. Who
want a change so we can go back to the business as usual. Jerrycan.
Black market.
Some of these foreigners,
people
in NNPC themselves in connivance with foreigners. The way this man is going is turning this country and turning this oil industry to an American system. We are not going to be able to import petrol. If we don't import petrol, our source of income and business will collapse. So these are the people sending the blobs. These are the people sending what they are saying.
So people shouldn't believe what they're writing out about Ibe Kachuku.
No, forget it. There's nothing like that. Ibe will never. Ibe's father was a judge. Where will he get a character of theft from?
Yeah.
Where? So forget it. Like I said, people in that government, like the vice president, Yomi Oshibajo,
like Fashola,
and Ibe, forget those ones.
True.
Those ones are above boards. They are above boards. Yeah. Let us see where their shortcomings and get them to do it. But we cannot bring a saint from America, England, or Pakistan. These people who are fighting, they are not better. Let them show us their pedigrees. Let them show us what they have been able to do. How have they changed situation?
Yeah.
I was on that seat. I was a minister, so I'm senior to them as minister. But the question is that let us see what these people who are, show me your father, your mother, your uncle, and see me what you have done.
Yeah.
If you have good ones, please, let us not waste our time.
Yes.
Those ones are above board.
They're very good. So before I move to the next question, so on the issue of power, do you think at one point, one day, one glorious day, Nigeria will have steady power supply?
If you leave the likes of Ibe, Fashola, Vice President, for them to run through a process. Are you there?
Yes.
We are too much in a hurry. The last time I was here, I was telling you about judges all over the world. The Chief Justice of England today is 73 years old. I was then telling you that why retire ours at 65? Are you getting me?
Yes.
Why retire our judges at 65? When, if you retire them, you still pay them money.
So we have a caller on the line for you. From Italy, we have Enweru or Uzo. Let me just say Uzo. Uzo, good afternoon, Uzo.
Good afternoon.
Hello, Uzo. We can barely hear you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for calling all the way from Italy. How is Italy today?
Yes, I want to congratulate Dr. Ibe Kachuku.
Okay.
Has done a lot has been helping, has transformed the Nigerian oil industry to something good. I want to contribute. And the minister, the former minister there, is also a very nice person.
Yes.
He knows what is going on in Nigeria oil industry. Ibe Kachiko has done a lot, and whoever that is talking and saying anything about Ibe Kachiko, that person is not a Nigerian. We don't want to go back to Jerry Khan again.
Yes.
I congratulate him. And the minister, you have spoken well. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Uzo, for calling all the way from Italy. Enjoy your summer. How is the weather like in Italy? What's the weather like in Italy? Is it very hot?
It's very hot. It's very a little bit hot. We are on holidays today.
Yes, so please enjoy your weather, okay? Thank you for calling. Okay, back to you, sir. He said it too, that I'm sure you heard everything, sir.
Before eBay took over, we're doing 1.2 million barrels per day.
Yes.
Today, the mine has taken it to 2.2 million barrels.
That's 1 million barrels more.
Minimum of 1 million barrels. Once you are transparent, Nigerians are very wise people. You can think that they are fools. They're not fools. Once you are transparently honest, let them show me where eBay has taken crude oil for himself. Let them show me where eBay has benefited his father, his mother, his
family.
So the question is, we should not, the people who are doing this blab, and I want to use this opportunity to tell eBay, your conscience is your guide. Everybody knows what has happened in the industry. So you, eBay, ignore those side talks, if at all. I don't think, given the kind of person
I don't
thought
think
you were,
he even listens.
I don't think that
He
should.
can't even hear.
But if at all you think, please, Nigerians appreciate you for what you have done for this industry. Do you know how many of my car engines that have knocked as a result of bringing adulterated fuel and destructive fuel? Do you know how many Nigerians? So what I'm saying is that the people who wants to benefit from importation of poisonous fuel, the people who wants to import that you have destroyed by your action in favor of the country are the people, if at all. I see this blob, and I think good working.
Yeah, and also the enemies, obviously enemies of progress, people that don't want things to function well. Those are the people that might even be initiating all this false news.
No, they are false. You see, they are faceless. They are false. I said it when we were going to employ the DGSSS. I told the president in an interview, I said, President, if you allow and follow the works of social media, owned ostensibly by people like Dizani and a lot of other people, you will not progress. These people who are social media are small children, people who are in their bedroom, finish university, they have nothing to contribute to society and everything. They go to their bedroom and they type. You see their hands when they are typing, they type and just social media. Let the social media talk about me.
Yes.
Let them come and, I have a lot of investments all over the world. Let them come and talk about me. They know that I have answers for them. So the question is that it's unnecessary distraction.
Yes.
When they said what they wanted to say when I was a minister, I went ahead and did what I want to do, and I left them. Jonathan, as the president then, knows that I was not interested in their tackies. I'm not interested. Till tomorrow, I tell them that if they have done things the way I'd advised them to do it, we will not be where we are today in the country.
True. You well said, sir. Well said, sir. But I won't leave you without not talking about your own parastatal, which is the education in Nigeria, Ministry of Education. Obviously, years ago and still now, a lot of people, federal government colleges were like the best. People would like, we have another caller on the line. So, good morning, Oba. Good morning. Sorry, good afternoon, Oba. How are you? Hello, Oba. Hello, are you there? Okay, we'll move forward. Oba, please, you can call us again later on. I know a lot of people would like to talk to Barrister Kenneth Gbagi. Sorry, sir. Yes, so as I was saying, Education Ministry. It's another place we need to talk about. I know that years ago, when I grew up, federal government colleges, they were like the best schools. even if you were the richest, you want your child to go to federal government colleges. State schools.
Did you go to one federal government college?
I went to a state college. I went to Lagos State Model College, and I have
Okay.
family. I wrote exams for federal government college. I got it, but my mom didn't want me to leave Lagos.
Okay.
So I had to stay in the state school. I wanted to go to Shagamu. So they were good schools. They were the best. Like, the education system was that good that even private schools, especially private secondary schools, we didn't know them. And now, I know they are still good. But I think we still have the problem of, is it overpopulation? Because that was one problem I noticed back then in schools, that you have a class of, some people might be 60, 70 in a classroom. And I think government should maybe try and build more federal government colleges for the citizens. What do you have to say? But before we go into that question, we have another call on the line. Good afternoon, Moses. Hello, Moses. Moses, are you there? Okay. Sir,
Now,
can we talk about the
quickly,
education? Yes.
I've just said that the country is too much in a hurry to get rid of good people, yet they complain of bad governance. As a minister, incidentally, all federal government colleges were under me.
Yes.
I visited most federal government colleges countrywide.
Yeah.
A typical example, I went to the one in Lagos.
Ijanike.
No. King's College.
Oh, King's College.
King's
Okay.
College is a federal government
Yeah,
college.
it is, yes. And Queen's College.
Incidentally, that was the day I met the current emir of Kano, former governor of Central Bank.
Yes,
He was
Lamido.
there, Lamido.
Yeah.
After I visited the school and inspected what I saw,
Yes.
I immediately suspended the principal of the school for irresponsibility.
Good.
It was disgraceful that that was what I could find.
Yeah. And what were the things you found that made you...
I went to the toilet. That was a boys' school.
Yeah.
The stench from the toilet alone
Yeah.
was enough for any child from a good home to be sick.
Yes.
I went to the boarding house, the hostels.
Yeah.
I came there and there because as I go for visit, I take all my key staffs.
Yeah.
And I suspended the principal, who was rather interested in what he can get and collect from the student,
parents.
and he was trading. I went to a school in Kaduna.
Okay, sir. Moses is back on the line. Hello, Moses. Are you there now? Moses?
Hello.
Hello. Finally. Thank you so much for calling the show today. You like to speak to Honorable Kenneth Gbagi?
Exactly.
Please go ahead.
Hello. My question to him is just that we, in a meeting, television, we hear a lot of idea and advice.
Yes?
At the end of it all, it seems that every comment and opinion, they're just trying to play with the masses or with the people. People comes with speak very, very good, very gently, but at the long run, when you look at the background of everything of what they have done or their contribution to Nigeria's education or the other sector, you see that you don't have anything to map for it. This man is doing well or the other one is doing well. It's just that the rate of corruption in Nigeria, I think, is very high. That when you look at it very carefully, it's even affecting the less privileged.
So what will be your question? What will be your question to the former minister? What's your question?
Yeah, my question to him is that in Lagos, in other parts of in other parts of Nigeria, the education sector, what I think is more or less minus zero everywhere in Nigeria now, except only the private school now. That
when you say minus zero, what aspects do you want to address? So we can. what aspects of the education system do you want to address? So you'll be able to answer your question ideally.
I mean buildings and facilities for education.
Okay. Thank you so much for calling, and I'll put your questions to the former minister.
I can just take it straight away.
Okay, he will answer the questions.
You see, you have spoken well. However, education in Nigeria is broken down into local government, state government, and federal government.
Yeah.
What I was responsible for was all federal government colleges,
Yes.
both female and male. Not primary school. Primary school is out of my purview.
Yeah.
You cannot rate education in one swap. What I think needs to be done, and I tried putting in place before my tenure expired, as it were, was that there is not what we call oversight function of the ministers with regards to all their institutions. Yeah. So it's like a field day. How many ministers has left Abuja to secondary schools to physically see for themselves? Yeah. Because there's no minister today who is not yet a father by attainment. Yes. So the question is that you will not want your child to live below standards. Yes. You will not want a school. So I want to believe that the ministers should do a bit more by going to visit their institutions and see what these federal government colleges are doing. They have turned them to trade points. The principals, the vice principals, and the bosses are trading, and nobody is checking it. And once you see people doing what they are to do right, it is this same masses, it's in Nigeria that we shout. Yeah. For instance, what was I benefiting other than fighting to make sure? When I created those universities, they called me names. When I created those federal government colleges, they called me names. Because the people who were benefiting, the head of WAEC, he was a thief. Yeah. He was a filthy thief. For instance, the man who left National University Commission, I read in the papers yesterday that you're talking about billions, money from vice chancellors and what have you. The question is that the man who was executive secretary before was a thief. He will do anything. I mean, he was a gambler. He was a player. So what I'm saying to you, this man has taken over. He's beginning to expose things. Yeah. What are we doing to bring to book Julius
Time not
Okoji?
on our side, sir. The last question for you, sir, before we actually round up the show will be, in a nutshell, we've spoken about a lot of ministries, a lot of parastatals. What will be your advice to Nigerians themselves in the issue of Nigeria, and how can we move forward in 2 minutes?
We should. The threat we have today is the threat of not cyber type now, joblessness with regards to social media, lying, and a process being put in place. I'm going to talk to the DGSSS very strongly, where we can track them down and get them to come and come and give us evidence. It's not enough to say, this man, and your name is
Tomi, sir.
Tomi is a thief. Just to smear your name and everything, and you don't get you don't get punished for it and all of this. So to me, Nigerians should be wary of social media and get the best out of it. It has helped in a lot of ways. But this whole attitude of being paid by some people who want things to be done or seen in a particular direction is wrong. I told you about 20 billion, for instance. That minister has brought $20 billion investment from all the JV partners to develop the oil industry, which technically had collapsed. So to that extent, let us please do what is right.
Thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate your time with us at Ben TV, and we also thank you for all your suggestions, advice, and how to move forward. And we wish you good luck in your future endeavors. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and I want to thank all our callers. Please stay tuned for the Pauline Long Show at 1 p.m. I am Tomi Badejoko. Have a wonderful day. Bye.